Hi, my name's Sam. I'm currently working as a community rehabilitation and support worker.
Hey, my name's Sal. I'm a Community Engagement Officer and Project Coordinator with Northern Territory AIDS and Hepatitis Council.
My name's Rocket. I'm in my 40s. And I'm a campaign and advocate coordinator for the Justice Reform Initiative.
So the worst part of my addiction was drinking, and I drank for over 30 years. It wasn't always at lethal levels, but at the worst part of my drinking, I drank up to 3 litres of vodka a day.
Um, being unable to find, or being homeless, being of no fixed address for extended periods of time, sleeping outdoors in really bad weather because it's the Territory and it was rough going.
It was really being hospitalised 5 times over a period of a year, and having several near-death experiences whilst in hospital.
Oh, that's easy. Some of the worst times during my addiction were when I was in jail, in high security, and a bit of a trigger warning. I was really suicidal and I didn't have really many friends around me. Yeah, that's definitely the worst part of my addiction.
Very hard to say because it was developed so long ago, but what contributed to it to getting to lethal lethal area was a loss of job and isolation.
Unaddressed traumas from my childhood, I would say. I come from a generation where parents swept everything under the rug and you weren't allowed to talk about stuff.
I was given drugs at a really, really young age by someone who was meant to be caring for me. So I was smoking weed at the age of 6, out of home when I was at the age of 13, and I never seen drugs as being illegal. I was like, yeah, what's all this fuss about drugs? There's nothing wrong with them.
How I felt when I beat the addiction, I felt it was the biggest accomplishment of my life. It was something that was quite surprising because I had always thought that it would just be quite easy to give up when I wanted to, but it was really quite the opposite.
I've set myself free. I'm no longer a slave to something that demands of me anything during the day. I feel free. Yeah.
Best ever. Yeah. I'm so proud of myself now. Like, I have some amazing friends, and like I'm living like my dream. I've got my dream job. Yeah, I love it. I love not being an addict anymore. Yeah, it's a really, really good feeling. Finally beating it. I mean, yeah, I'm glad that I never gave up because it's pretty well worth it. It's pretty worth it. It's, yeah.
I think really it was because it was no longer fun. The buzz that I was getting originally and the good feeling had all gone away. Also, the near-death experiences were really quite frightening, and my life was chaotic, out of control, and I felt whilst I was in the midst of addiction, very useless. I couldn't do anything.
I never tried to stop until I did stop. Yeah. my road to recovery started 4 years ago when I walked into a rehab, and even though I went back a few times after that, I'd never tried stopping drugs before that.
Oh man, 77 times it took me. 77. And on the 77th, like I just kept wanting to try because I didn't enjoy getting high anymore. I was over it. Like I wasn't enjoying the drugs like I used to. I didn't get high like I used to. It was just a never-ending search for more and better drugs that weren't available. And so yeah, I knew that there was something better out there. And also the way that I got treated in jail was a real factor for my wanting to get straight and clean and be able to be a voice for people who don't have a voice.
I think I was really surprised by the positive ripple on effect of friends and people I know when they saw that I was making moves to get clean, and it just pushed me. Yeah.
I think that peer support offered me hope, and it offered me information as to what different methods I could get access to. I had tried TSM, the Sinclair method. I've tried Alcoholics Anonymous, Al-Anon, Grow mental health recovery groups and counselling, amongst other things, and sort of personal research as well. So it was a willingness to keep trying until I found the right fit.
I wanted to be clean, yeah, and like I knew that the people in my life weren't enriching my life, and I longed for like just a normal life, like everyone, to wake up at 8 o'clock and go to work. I have to wake up at 7 o'clock now. Yeah, I just wanted to get rid of all the shit from my life.
The best advice that I was given was to cooperate with the help that I needed. Also to ask for help. That was much harder than what I anticipated, because I thought I could cope with all of this myself, but I just couldn't. I needed help. Tried different methods along the way, until I found something that worked for me.
I believe I'm one of the people that if anyone to think that it would always stay on drugs, it's me. I was a lifetime user, and I don't consider myself any more special than anyone else, and that if I've managed to do it, that anyone can do it.
Of course you can. If I can, anyone can. My name's pretty well known around the drug circuit, and yeah, the longest I'd ever been clean was 12 months or something, and I thought that I'd never get longer than that, and here I am. Just keep going. Like, you can do it. If I can, anyone. Just keep going. Really, just really keep going. You really don't give up on giving up. Don't give up on yourself. You owe it to yourself.
I find that part of it even tougher, to be honest, because you know yourself, you're burdened with the fact that you're an addict yourself, and you feel like you could be a hypocrite in expecting them to do things when you want them to, but it only happens when that person is ready.
It was really quite frightening and scary at times. There was drug addiction as well as alcoholism in the family. There was violent episodes. There was incarceration of family members. there was mental health issues with family members with the addictions. There was family disintegration, and there was a lot of fighting amongst family, not just the ones who were affected by the addiction, but just by the other family members fighting as well.
Oh, it's so hard, like watching someone I love go through what they were going through. After I got clean, I still had a family member addicted, and it was really, really hard watching her struggle with her addiction. Side note, she's clean now too. But I also, I also have someone who's a chronic alcoholic in my life, and it's so hard watching him. It's, yeah.
To try and ask for help, to be honest, try and exclude stigma as much as you can, and just be transparent about what's going on within the family. Also, just to cooperate with the help that you need, because if you find a good coping skill for yourself, that will go a long way to leading by example for the loved ones who are addicted.
To get themselves support, to practice self-care and to have healthy boundaries in place. It's just as important that they have support as the person experiencing addiction has support.
You can't force rehab on someone. You can't force your feelings onto someone. When they're ready, they'll be ready. And tough love doesn't always work at all. It sent me the opposite direction.
I wasn't socially interacting at all, so it was slow going for me to connect with other people, but I was able to do that through the different support groups that I was involved with. And once I became familiar enough with people, I could accept the help that they were asking, that they were offering.
Has been absolutely crucial. So I did a few laps of rehab, and all within 11 months. And the number one thing was I had to understand the fact that I wasn't just an addict. There was a reason for my addiction, and that it wasn't until I looked within and realised what my addiction is just a side effect of unresolved traumas. And it wasn't until I looked within that I truly started to get somewhere. I also needed a team around me, and I involved myself in mental health projects, mental health services. I'm a member of a 12-step program, and I can't speak highly enough of that has what's kept me clean and given me a new foundation to build a brand new life from. It's not just about going to meetings, it's about building a safe social group, and the benefits of Narcotics Anonymous have been unbelievable. I think anyone, doesn't matter what brand or what kind of support, get yourself some supports if you're going to give a decent go of this, because you're not expected to do it by yourself, and it is a big job.
My connections and support have been everything for my recovery. If I didn't have some really strong connections that I made, I wouldn't have made it through. At the very start of my recovery, I was very alone, and it really sucked, like not having anyone to talk to or anything. So when I did make some good connections and some new connections, and that, it was really, really good to know that people liked me just for me. No drugs, no nothing, no expectations. They just were my friend for being my friend. And I couldn't have done it without the support people I have in my life.
I think the support that peers offered was special because they got it. They understood what I was going through. They didn't offer sympathy, but they offered empathy.
I think all of my effective supports have been the peer factor of the supports. Narcotics is run by addicts for addicts. My recovery program I did was peer specific. Sitting in a room with other people that understand what you've been through is without parallel. So much less judgment, and we all just have a natural understanding on some kind of level on what others have been through.
Yeah, peer support's been great. I've got, a family member who's going through recovery as well. I've got a lot of friends who are going through recovery, and it's really good to check in on those people and to let those people know that you care and know that you're there. And, I lean on a couple of my peers a fair bit. I'm always talking to them. One in this video. She's been really instrumental, like I can talk to her about anything. Yeah, it's been great. Peers rock.
Well, the biggest turning point, it was all a collective involvement, so all of the support groups that I was involved with. But one key thing for me was watching a movie called One Little Pill, which led me into the Sinclair method of treating alcohol, which is taking one pill of naltrexone 1 hour before drinking, and it makes you want to drink less and less and less and less. And after 3 to 9 months, the cravings and the will to keep drinking just disappeared.
Having others around me that have shown that it is possible. So again, it falls back to that peer stuff, I get to sit in a room at meetings with other people around me that have been through similar things, and they've been 5 years drug-free, 20 years drug-free, going to other programs or places where people push on, I see it as an evolving thing, and as long as I don't pick up, there's no going backwards. You might take a side step, but you're ever evolving, and it's never too late.
So I have a dog, and his name is Ollie, and he is my best friend. He gave me my hope. I didn't ever want to leave him again when I went to jail. I nearly lost him, and he was just everything I looked forward to when I got out of jail, and he was my little best friend. He's my little PTSD dog, even though he hasn't been trained, but he is a little ray of sunshine in my life.
I've become a lot more self-aware, and being self-aware in this point in my recovery means that I am now able to connect with other people, because I think the biggest thing about connection is being able to connect to ourselves before we're able to properly connect with others.
Look, it took me a while. And I honestly, I had been a drug user for that long. I grieved the absence of that substance being out of my life. And for a long time there, I didn't know what was going to be left of me, because all I knew me to be was an addict, and all of the behaviours and antics that come with that. And it was like I literally grieved for the loss of that part of my life, but I just had to push on. I felt like I wasn't going to come back this time, and I didn't care about the physical effects. It was when I finally felt my mind falter that I thought that that was the big turning point for me. And
Oh, I didn't really give a crap what happened to me. At my lowest of low, I really didn't give a crap. Oh, now I'm going to cry. And, but now I'm happy with the person I am. I don't care if I'm overweight because I eat and I sleep every night. I'm really happy with the person I've become. I'm super proud of the person I've become. Yeah.
Well, at one point, I believe that the stigma was so big, it was just full of shame and remorse and guilt. And now it's much more, just a part of who I am now. And to be able to share it is a privilege, because I'm now able to offer that hope, inspiration to other people with my story.
I decided that I didn't endure all that for nothing, and that I now I feel so lucky to be in the position I'm in that I want to use my experiences to encourage others.
So the job that I'm doing at the moment has given me a lot of purpose. I'm a campaign and advocate coordinator, and it's our mantra is to reduce incarceration by 50% by 2030. And I am so proud of the work that I'm doing now. It gives me purpose, it gives me meaning to life. Like, I was put on this earth for a reason, and I think I'm finally doing the right things for myself, for my life.
I think the empowerment for me came from as I was slowly recovering, I was being entrusted with more and more responsibility within the support groups that I was with. So I was given certain tasks to do, and that was building my confidence. That was making me feel useful. It was providing a purpose for me, and that was the empowering factor that led to me being independently empowered to be able to go back into the workforce and feel quite confident in what I was talking about.
Getting back to work's been massive. Yeah, that's been huge for me. I work for it's a peer organisation that I work for at NTARC, and well, just and knowing that everyone has their place, we've all got something to offer. It might be a little bit tougher for some of us rather than others to find that place in the world, but I have hope that I have faith now. It's gone beyond hope. I have faith now that everything's going to improve as long as I don't pick up again.
Well, I actually did a little podcast, and that podcast really empowered me. It made me look at my trauma and stuff and give it back to the person it belonged to. Unpacking my trauma was a massive part of my recovery during my podcast. And then the reception of my podcast, how people received the podcast when they heard how my life had been and stuff. I was expecting a lot of negativity, and I really thought that would send me back to drugs, but what happened was the exact opposite. Everyone was just so accepting and so supportive of my journey and supportive of me as a person, and it was really empowering. It was so empowering. Like, I was going through Apple reviews, reading all these little, "Oh, you're so awesome, Rocket," and like I was scratching my head out here because I had such a big head. I'm like, "Oh, my ear's scratchy today." Yeah, yeah. So I'm very, very happy with the person I am today and the life that I'm living. Yeah.
And listening, I think that we all feel as though that we can listen, and it's an important part of trying to help someone. But I believe that the most important part of listening to someone is that you believe what you're being told.
I would like to say to not ever give up hope, that you might have 99 people come through your service that never get off anything or never progress, but you'll get one person that does, and that's all that matters, even if it's in your entire career.
I think promoting peer support, because the providers are often only in the picture for a very short time. It might be that they're only there for 1 hour a week, perhaps. So promoting other sources of support, such as the Grow Mental Health Group, the AA, Al-Anon, anything that can help that person during the week through a longer period of time.
Don't give up on people halfway through. Don't abandon them when they're trying to get themselves better. So many times service providers just abandoned me, and it made me feel like I was no good, and it really made me question my sense of self-worth and stuff. So, if you're in someone's life to help them recover, stay in that capacity. Even if you can't stay in the capacity that you are, at least don't abandon people. Don't abandon people, and don't judge the person before you walked in their shoes.
Rehab. I done 6 months worth of rehab, and I felt that it was a fantastic way to give myself a break, and also a period where I could discover and research some support coming out of rehab. But rehab as a solution, it wasn't a great fit for me. It may be for some people, but I believe that there's only a 2% success rate coming out of rehab. It's just not to judge, I think, and to perhaps think of it much as a disease. So, like if the person had cancer, you wouldn't be saying you can just shake this off. You would be much more empathetic and understanding, and I think that's what it needs. It needs to be treated exactly the same way.
To try and be supportive, I think there's just got to be a lot more focus on not isolating and hiding these discussions that need to be had these days, and to reach out.
I think just to seek some information, as much information as they can, to get clarification, to be very well researched and factually ready, not to offer any advice that's opinion, but to offer advice that's well sourced and factually correct.
Just be there for them. Tell them that you're there for them. Make sure they have your number. Make sure they know where you live. Make sure they know that they can contact you anytime. And just be a strong support person for them. When they're going through their stuff, they don't need you to tell them what they need to do. But they do need someone to be there for them and be there all the time.
Again, I think it's being prepared, but the biggest thing that's helped me is to learn how to protect my own mental health and safeguard that, because if my mental health is deteriorating, it's of no help to anyone that I'm trying to support.
To try and not place judgment on that family and in the ways that they're choosing to support their loved one. And it's a really tough, sensitive time, and to be open-minded and not give too many opinions.
Don't be judgmental. Be there for them. Be a support person. You can give them all the ideas in the world. They've probably thought of it all. Just be a friend. Be a friend and support them. Don't judge.
I just wanted to add that, when I was a younger person, we are receptive to the media, and if you ever saw a superstar or a rock star and you heard that person's gone to rehab, it'd be like, oh, that's it, they're a write-off, and that's no longer true. That we can recover, people are recovering, and I feel like there really is like this. I feel enthused by like a worldwide movement behind me away from the use of addiction these days, and it's an amazing thing. I love my life now. I'm 51 and can't wait to see what the rest of my life has to hold for me, and I can't wait to see what's to come. Thank you.
I just want to say, like, you're not alone. There are so many people fighting this same fight. We all fight it differently. You might not know your neighbour's fighting it, but we all fight it differently. Just as long as you keep fighting, if even if you can do 2 days clean, that's 2 days more than you would have done. Like, just take little steps if you can't take that giant step. But the important thing is just keep taking steps. You will get there. And you will find that person who will inspire you and believe in you, and just, that's what you need. You need to find that belief in yourself and inspire yourself, because you're going to be your own worst enemy or your own best friend. It's up to you. You can make that choice. But yeah, you're not alone. You're 100% not alone. Don't give up. Please don't give up trying, because I know that together we can all get there.